Food researchers that finds that grocery prices are going to increase a little bit less, but they're still going to go up in 2024. So the 14th annual Canada Food Price Report predicts grocery costs will increase by 2.5 to 4.5% next year. Now, that's down from the 5 to 7% rate Canadians had to deal with in this past year. Overall, the report shows that the price of groceries for an average family of four is going to increase by $700 next year. So digest that for a moment while we bring in live from Halifax, Anne-Marie Mediwake. She's a researcher at Dalhousie University's Agri-Food Analytics Lab. Good morning to you.
Good morning.
So prices aren't going to go down. They're just not going to spike quite as much. What kind of difference will that make for families?
That's essentially it. You're right. The rate of inflation is decelerating. It's not deflating. And so I think for most Canadians, the sticker shock they've been experiencing in 2022 and 2023, especially when we were dipping into those double-digit numbers in the spring and the summer, we won't be seeing that anymore. And so when you go to the grocery store, you'll see pretty typical 2.5 to 4.5% increase in inflation on food, and only in some categories, right? Other categories will not be rising as high. So overall, I think optimistic view of 2024.
Yeah, listening to some of the people that, reporters were talking to about the cost of food and the cost of groceries, $700 a year, although it's not as high as what we saw this year, is still a lot for a lot of families. That means there's things that they won't be buying.
You're absolutely right. And so we noticed a kind of phenomenon in 2023 where Canadians were buying less food overall across the board. And, I think when you couple that with the Food Banks of Canada statistic that, they're experiencing 78.5% increase in users or clients since 2019, we kind of are getting a fuller picture of food insecurity in Canada. And $700 is quite a bit of money. And so, but when you're trying to pay shelter costs that are rising and all of these other things, food sometimes goes by the wayside and you end up getting lower quality food or skipping meals altogether. And that is concerning. You
touched on food banks, and I'm glad that you did, because we know that there's certain things that people go to for the food bank because they're just so expensive at the grocery store. Can you give us an indicator of which types of food will actually increase in price?
So we're looking at meat, of course. Meat is often the most expensive item in your grocery cart, and that won't change really. And so cuts of meat are expected to rise 5 to 7%. Bakery is the other category that may surprise some people. Bakery is also expected to rise between 5 and 7%. And both of these categories are really impacted by increasing energy costs, and the conflict in the Ukraine with the disruption to grain costs on the global market. And so, I think people have already been taking steps to reduce their meat intake. We're dedicated meat eaters here in Canada, so we don't predict people will eliminate it altogether, but we're starting to see people look for meals that are less meat intensive, more meals of the week.
Janet, it's good to have this forecast as we head into 2024, and although the prices aren't really coming down, it does give us an indication of where we should spread our money around. Good to talk to you this morning. Thank you.
Thanks for having me.
Hey, thanks for watching. If you liked this, be sure to subscribe here, or you can check out more Your Morning videos right here.